Han Tuo cultivated later than them and was actually walking in front of them. This was too stimulating. On that day, Xing Hongxian came to visit Hanju. After entering the temple, she immediately pestered him. "Husband, I can't wait anymore. Let me give birth to your child," Xing Hongxian said coquettishly. She no longer had the bearing of an expert. In front of Hanju, she was always like a little girl. Hanju said angrily, "What? Aren't you afraid of trouble? How can it be troublesome? Lock him in the 100-peak immortal river and don't let him out. He won't cause trouble." "Really?" Hanju hesitated. However, cultivation time was indeed boring. It would be fun if he could have another son. The difference in bloodline strength between him and Xing Hongxian was too great. It was very difficult for them to have children. Back then, when he had a child with Qing Wan'er, he had spent a lot of effort to maintain Han Tuo's bloodline. In order for Xing Hongxian to be able to withstand his second child, he would suppress the power of his bloodline. The inheritance was limited, and the child he gave birth to might not be as strong as Han Tuo. Of course, that was not the case. Unconsciously, there was a power that restricted the bloodline inheritance, causing it to weaken generation after generation. Perhaps it was the Great Tao's restraint. Otherwise, what would happen if more and more chaotic fiend celestials appeared and destroyed the chaos? In order to divert Xing Hongshuan's attention, Hanju began to preach the Tao to her and helped her increase her cultivation first. In the Earth Immortal world, on a huge planet larger than the sun, there were countless tall buildings and flying transports. The rainbow light of technology interwove above the planet. After so many years, Yang Du's aura became stronger and stronger. His eyes were sharp and terrifying. A black shadow appeared in the darkness of the room, revealing a pair of double pupils. "Have you thought about it?" the black shadow asked. This was Immortal Emperor Samsara's voice. Yang Du turned around and said expressionlessly, "I don't even know who you are. How can I consider it?" The mysterious person in front of him had pestered him for months, making him extremely annoyed. However, he couldn't hurt the other party at all, so he could only endure. Immortal Emperor Samsara said, "I can't reveal my identity, but if you agree to this, you will obtain a huge opportunity. Your cultivation level has not increased for a long time, right? Perhaps you are invincible in the Milky Way, but in the entire Earth Immortal world, do you really think you are very strong?" Yang Du was silent. Immortal Emperor Samsara continued, Go to the infinite space. If you succeed, I will support you to control the infinite space in the future." He suddenly thought of Hanju, the mysterious person who had taught him the heavenly cycle body tempering technique. With his current lifespan, how could he live for 100 million years? He might die before he even saw that mysterious mighty figure. He had heard that mighty figures cultivated in seclusion and dreamed of an era. Yang Du gritted his teeth. "All right, I accept it." 100 years later, Xing Hongxian walked out of Hanju's Taoist temple in satisfaction. Although he didn't agree to have children, he would definitely not reject her when she reached the pseudo-sage realm. For all test vels, Hanju had never lied to her. He always kept his word. Oh, he had lied to her 130,000 years ago. Every time Xing Hongxian thought of her first encounter with Hanju, she felt that it was wonderful, like a love story in legends. At the same time, Hanju teleported to the second Tao field and let the Crimson Fox out. This was also the reason why giant god Pangu killed 3,000 fiend celestials to attain the Tao back then. It was not about killing each other, but killing the enemy to attain the Tao. With Hanju's orders, the three chaotic fiend celestials naturally wouldn't kill each other. Even if they didn't like each other, they would only resolve it in the simulation trial. For example, Murongqi and the heavenly constellation Fiend Celestial had fought tens of thousands of times. They had both lost and won countless times. Murongchi asked curiously, Grandmaster, how many chaotic fiend celestials are you preparing to create? Hanju said, 3,000. Let's restore the glory of the fiend celestial era. 3,000 chaotic fiend celestials. Murongchi and the other two were shocked. Then, Hanju waved his hand and gestured for them to leave. He should observe the fiend celestial candidates next. In the depths of the chaos, the chaotic deity sat on a huge meteor. A mirror floated in front of him. The edge was like stone and looked ancient. In the mirror was a starry sky with dozens of stars. Another chaotic fiend celestial has been born. What's going on? Why can't I find it? The chaotic deity muttered to himself, feeling uneasy. Recently, the chaos had changed drastically. First, the mysterious new Great Tao had disappeared. Then, he had been injured by a curse and 3 chaotic fiend celestials had been born. After the creation of the world, there were only a few chaotic fiend celestials left. Another chaotic fiend celestial might not be born in 10 billion years. The recent abnormality made the chaotic deity smell the aura of the Great Tao immeasurable calamity. The Tao ancestor once said that the Great Tao immeasurable calamity might occur when the primordial fiend celestial leads the chaotic fiend celestials to sweep through the chaos. Who is the primordial fiend celestial? The chaotic deity muttered to himself in confusion. He couldn't see through it, deduce it, or figure it out. After a while, a figure appeared in front of him. It was Kundi. Kundi was the first to ask, fellow Taoist, are you also being cursed? The chaotic deity asked, what do you want to ask? After he was cursed, he had specially asked some mighty figures in the deity realm of the ruins of End. He didn't expect the news to spread so quickly. Even Kundi, who he hated the most, knew about this. Kundi said in a low voice, I'm like you. The one who cursed us is called the Dark Forbidden Lord. The chaotic deity fell silent. He began to deduce the Dark Forbidden Lord. He couldn't guess who the Dark Forbidden Lord was. He could only guess the impression the living beings in the immortal world had of him. After a long while, the chaotic deity said, in your opinion, where is the primordial fiend celestial hiding? The chaos was too big. The immortal world, the heavens, the dark forbidden zone, the deity realm of the ruins of End, the ancient desolate, the depths of the chaos, and so on. Even the chaotic deity who controlled the chaotic order couldn't see all the corners. Kundi said, immortal world. It must be the immortal world, and it's related to Hanju. I even suspect that he's the Dark Forbidden Lord and that he's the primordial fiend celestial. His potential is too ridiculous. If he's not the reincarnation of a mighty figure, he can only be the primordial fiend celestial. Hanju? The chaotic deity began to deduce Hanju. He was stunned. A 130,000-year-old freedom sage. Impossible! Ever since the chaotic deity's birth, he had never seen such talent. Back when Pangu appeared, he had also cultivated for a long time before attaining the Tao. Something was wrong with this kid. The chaotic deity's hatred towards you has increased. Current hatred points, 6.5 stars. 6.5 stars. Hanju was shocked. The highest emotional value he had ever seen was 6 stars. However, ever since the primordial heavenly prison had appeared, a max favorability had appeared, and it was not 6 stars. In Hanju's opinion, 6 stars of hatred was already irreconcilable. 6.5 stars. Even if the Great Tao was destroyed, hatred would still remain? Ridiculous. Killing intent burst out from Hanju's eyes. He had to eliminate the chaotic deity. However, it was very difficult for him to kill the other party now. Even if the chaotic deity wanted to kill him, it was impossible unless Hanju left the heavenly Tao. Hanju made up his mind never to leave the heavenly Tao again. He adjusted his state of mind and continued cultivating. Hanju was already 131,808 years old. In terms of age, he was already an old monster. After his seclusion ended, Hanju opened the emails and checked his recent friends. Your good friend Evil Heavenly Emperor obtained the Dark Sage King's Tao fruit. He used his strength to attain the Tao and became a primordial chaos zenith heaven golden immortal. Your grand disciple Fang Liang has absorbed the heavenly Tao spirit. His cultivation has increased greatly and his providence has increased greatly. Your good friend ancestor Shitian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your descendant Han Yu was attacked by a mysterious deity realm cultivator and was severely injured. Your disciple Ji Xianshan received guidance from your good friend Emperor Shao and learned a mystical power. Your good friend Empress Huta was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. Your good friend Shurdu Dao has obtained the primordial purple chi. His providence has increased greatly. The heavenly emperor had used his strength to attain the Tao. Hanju sighed when he saw this message. This was definitely a path of no return. The Dark Sage King was only a pawn. The heavenly emperor had inherited his identity as a pawn. He would definitely suffer in the future. However, after meeting him that day, Hanju knew that the evil heavenly emperor was already too far gone. His hatred for the heavenly Tao sages was deeply rooted, and he even wanted to destroy the heavenly Tao. Although the evil heavenly emperor had taken the wrong path, Hanju didn't want to eliminate him. Because the evil heavenly emperor had treated him well before and did not have any hatred towards him even now. The emails that followed were also very exciting and had a lot of information. The heavenly Tao spirit that had disappeared for a long time was actually obtained by Fang Liang. It was probably the Tao ancestor's plot. Ancestor Shitian was cursed. Interesting. This meant that someone was really using the name of the Dark Forbidden Lord to cause trouble. It should be from the deity realm of the ruins of End. The heavenly Tao sages still hoped that ancestor Shitian would protect them, so why would they curse him? Below, Hanju was attracted by Shurdu Dao. Primordial Purple Chi. It was most likely Fuxishan's primordial purple chi. Newall had begun to take action. Hanju thought for a moment and sent a dream to Shurdu Dao. The dark nightmare forcefully pulled Shurdu Dao into the dream without any reaction time. In the dream, Shurdu Dao suddenly opened his eyes. Seeing Hanju covered in divine light, he couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. He remembered him. The great freedom heaven imprisoning palm that Hanju had taught him was vast and profound. He was still cultivating it. Hanju said, "Did a sage contact you?" Shurdu Dao had a 5-star favorability towards him. He wanted to test if this 5-star favorability represented loyalty. Hearing this, Shurdu Dao hesitated for a moment and said, "That's right. They also gave me a primordial purple chi. As for who it is, I can't say. Senior, please forgive me." Hanju said, "When will you attain the Tao?" It was fine for Shurdu Dao to attain the Tao. He would first test the waters and see what kind of changes the new sage would bring to the heavenly Tao. "I'll attain the Tao in the next 10,000 years, Shurdu Dao said in a low voice. He paused for a moment and asked, "Senior, what do you think of me?" "Why do you ask?" "I understand that after attaining the Tao, I will definitely have to pick a side. The sage who gave me the primordial purple chi is also not kind. Join me. As long as you don't harm the world and kill people from different sects, I won't have too many requirements and restrictions on you. What I pursue is the great Tao, not power. Power is only for convenience," Hanju replied very casually, but Shurdu Dao's eyes lit up. With that, Hanju removed the dream. He only needed to maintain a good relationship with Shurdu Dao. If this fellow wanted to stab him in the back, he could just throw him into the primordial heavenly prison. To put it bluntly, the current heavenly Tao was Hanju's territory. He was only afraid of forcing the mighty figure in the deity realm of the ruins of End into a corner, so he kept a low profile. Hanju opened his eyes and muttered, "Shi Dao is the next sage. Then, it's time for Li Daokong to attain the Tao." Li Daokong was a very important step for him and was also the hidden sect disciple he valued the most. Before joining the hidden sect, Li Daokong had already proved his strength. While the other geniuses were still famous for their potential, Li Daokong had already made others ignore his potential. After Li Daokong obtained the Buzhou Divine Mountain, his cultivation level had been steadily increasing. He had already reached the late-stage pseudo-sage realm, but he was still a step away from the perfected pseudo-sage realm and couldn't break through. Hanju sent a voice transmission to Li Daokong and asked him to return. The next day, Li Daokong arrived at the 100-peak Immortal River, and Hanju moved him into the Taoist temple. Li Daokong bowed respectfully. Although he didn't know why Hanju was looking for him, it must be something important. Hanju said, "It's time to attain the Tao." Tao attainment. Li Daokong was stunned. He didn't expect this. Then, his breathing quickened. "I can already attain the Tao? You're still lacking a little. Cultivate beside me first and reach the perfected realm. I'll let you attain the Tao." Hanju said calmly as if sages were not worth mentioning in his eyes. "Wait patiently, more chapters will be updated soon." Since ancient times, which sage had not experienced several calamities? They were as old as epochs. Hanju closed his eyes and activated the great Tao of extreme origin to drown Li Daokong. Hanju didn't need to especially preach the Tao to Li Daokong. He only needed to dissipate the great Tao of extreme origin and continue cultivating. Time passed. Year after year passed. The Heavenly Tao Providence Board was always changed. Ever since Feng Liang established the Heavenly Tao, all the living beings in the immortal world had sought refuge with him. Even the mortal worlds of the heavens had traces of Heavenly Tao disciples. His providence had increased. One day, he suddenly occupied the top of the Heavenly Tao Providence Board, kicking Great Loose Heaven down. Everyone was in an uproar. Feng Liang and Great Loose Heaven fought for glory, causing all living beings to ignore a name. Shi Dao. Ever since he had obtained the primordial purple chi, Shi Dao's providence had been rapidly increasing. He had silently entered the top 10. 4,000 years passed. "I am Shi Dao. I have used the invincible Tao to attain the primordial chaos Tao fruit. My title is Sage Dao. I have created an invincible domain. Those who step into it can obtain the protection of my providence." Boom! The heavens of the immortal world trembled. All living beings felt a vast pressure envelop the world. Looking up, all living beings saw a pillar of light that connected the world and shot into the sky. It was unknown how high it was. It was Shi Dao. Shi Dao, who had successfully attained the Tao, slowly rose among the heavenly Tao merit. All the living beings in the immortal world knelt down to the sages and wanted to obtain their favor. Passing through the layers of sky, the mighty figures hidden in the various layers came to congratulate him. "Is this a sage?" Shi Dao sighed in his mind. No wonder they said that everyone below the sages was an ant. Once he became a sage, he felt that he had far exceeded his previous state. In the past, if he appeared in front of him, he could crush him with a finger. He suddenly found it ridiculous. In the past, he still dared to challenge sages. Fortunately, sages were bound by the rules of the Heavenly Tao. Otherwise, he would have long died. Soon, Shi Dao arrived outside the 33rd heaven. The sages came to congratulate him. Regardless of seniority, Shi Dao had successfully attained the Tao and was on the same level as them. Countless years later, they still had to manage the heavenly Tao together. 100 Peak Immortal River. Inside the Taoist temple, Li Daokong frowned unhappily. He didn't expect Shi Dudao to attain the Tao first. For tens of thousands of years, the two of them had often fought. Although it was not a death grudge, they were definitely not on friendly terms. In the entire immortal world, very few people could be Li Daokong's match. Shi Dudao was one of them. Apart from the three pure sacred ancestors, Shi Dudao was undoubtedly the number one person below the sages. Even Li Daokong had to admit it. Hanju said, "It's your turn." Not long ago, Li Daokong had broken through to the perfected pseudo-sage realm and was waiting to attain the Tao. Hanju took out a primordial purple chi. This primordial purple chi had been absolutely purified. Li Daokong could use it without worries. "Do I need to make a great promise?" Li Daokong took the primordial purple Q and asked carefully. Hanju said, "There's no need. The Buzhou Divine Mountain has already given you great providence. You can attain the Tao with your strength, but you're still a heavenly Tao sage. You're just stronger than the other merit sages." Li Daokong's cultivation path had absorbed too much heavenly Tao providence. After attaining the Tao, he couldn't sever his relationship with the heavenly Tao. He could only be a heavenly Tao sage. Hanju was different. His cultivation didn't rely on the providence of the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao merit he obtained was preserved by him alone, so his cultivation had nothing to do with the heavenly Tao. As for the Fusong tree's spirit chi, it was even more unrelated to the heavenly Tao and was isolated by the Tao field. "Begin absorbing the primordial purple chi. I'll preach the Tao to you and help you," Hanju instructed. Li Daokong immediately adjusted his state of mind. Achieving the Tao was not an ordinary breakthrough, but a huge leap in the essence of life. It required time. In the vast universe, a huge planet stood alone in a corner. On the planet, yellow sand filled the air. There was no water. The sky was covered by sand, like the scene of the end of the world. Yongdu sat halfway up the mountain. The sand was repelled by an invisible force when it approached him. He was severely injured. A huge hole had been opened in his chest, and his white bones were revealed. The wound was extremely terrifying. At the edge of the wound, a strange blood aura prevented his injuries from healing. Yongdu gasped. His eyes were murky and he was silent. At this moment, the space in front of him began to twist like a vortex. A figure slowly appeared. A figure of light could only be seen. It looked like a human and could not be seen. Yongdu said, "Do it. I have nowhere to run." With that, he closed his eyes. He accepted his fate. The mysterious figure teased him. "Yongdu, as expected of one of the strongest reincarnators in the reincarnation space. Why did you betray the reincarnation space?" Yongdu snorted. "That's right. You said that I'm the strongest reincarnator, but what am I in the reincarnation space? I still fight like an ant and never stop doing missions. Once I break the rules, I'll still be punished. What's the point of me living? Today, you better kill me. Otherwise, I'll kill every reincarnator I see. Until there's no one left in the reincarnation space." His tone was filled with ruthlessness. The mysterious figure was silent. After a long while, the mysterious figure asked, "I'll give you another chance. If you bow your head to the reincarnation space, I can help you speak and let you contribute to the reincarnation space again. Don't forget, if not for the reincarnation space, you would have long been buried. How can you live for so long and enjoy your current status and power? Your status in the reincarnation space is low, but your status in the Earth immortal world is not. People can't forget their roots." Hearing this, Yongdu cursed. "Screw your mother and the reincarnation space. Kill me if you want to." He was so angry that he cursed in the manner of earthlings. The mysterious figure couldn't help but laugh. All right, then die. Yongdu looked like he was about to die. His neck stretched out straight. However, the mysterious figure did not kill him. Yongdu's eyes widened in shock. The mysterious figure waved his hand and healed his injuries. Do you really want to die? Don't you want to continue taking revenge on the reincarnation space? The mysterious figure asked. Yongdu was silent. A few seconds later, he gritted his teeth and said, All right, I'll join the infinite space. Another 1,000 years passed. Hanju meditated on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and started to check his emails. Your good friend Yongdu received guidance from a mysterious sage. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Evil Heavenly Emperor was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has successfully fused with the heavenly Tao power and grasped it. Your son Han Tuo has entered the dark forbidden zone. Your good friend Shi Dudao was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend ancestor Shi Tian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Heavenly Venerate Wu Fa was cursed by a mysterious curse. Hanju frowned. Why did Han Tuo leave the immortal world? Hanju pinched his fingers to deduce inside. The reason why this kid left the immortal world was to save Yi Tian. He didn't even want his life anymore. Hanju wasn't easy to judge. Everyone had someone they valued the most. If Han Tuo was caught by a great Tao sage, it was impossible for Hanju to save him. Hanju had already instructed that if Han Tuo still dared to go out, he had to be responsible for his actions. He continued to read the emails and discovered that recently, all the sages had been cursed by a mysterious curse, except him. Why am I not being cursed? Hanju asked in his mind. The Tao field can isolate the cursed karma. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. So that was the case. The Tao field was really stable. I want to know, who's cursing the sages? Hanju continued to ask in his mind. 160 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Immediately after, many faces appeared in his mind. Kundi, Great Tao Sage, Immeasurable Emperor, founder of the Buddhist sect. Because you severed his karma with Qiu Shilai, he has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, full stars. Emperor Shao, Mid-stage Primordial Chaos Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, Heavenly Tao Sage, Disciple of the Tao Ancestor, one of the ancestors of the Devil Race. Current favorability, 3 stars. Karma Heaven, Great Tao Divine Spirit, formed by the Great Tao of Karma. Later, it was controlled by ancestor Shitian and was deprived of the Great Tao origin. Therefore, it hates the Heavenly Tao. Because you stopped its plans to destroy the Heavenly Tao, it has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 4 stars. Undying Tao, Transcendent Tao Expert, Immeasurable Emperor, one of the first living beings after the splitting of the heavens. Because he was expelled by the Heavenly Tao in the immeasurable calamity, he views the Heavenly Tao as his enemy. He heard that you stopped the Heavenly Tao from being destroyed and developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, pure stars. Hanju looked at Li Daokong. Hanju was a little excited. Li Daokong was the first sage he had nurtured. 76 years later, a vast heavenly might enveloped the myriad worlds. I am Li Daokong of the Hidden Sect. Today, I have used my strength to attain the Tao and obtained the Tao fruit of a sage. I will protect the disciples of the Hidden Sect and control the sect's order. I will fulfill my duty as a guardian. Everyone was in an uproar. All living beings were not unfamiliar with Li Daokong because he had always been at the top of the heavenly Dao Providence board. However, they didn't expect sages to be born one after another. The strangest thing was that in the past, sages would make great promises and swear to the heavenly Dao. Li Daokong actually swore to the hidden sect. The hidden sect surfaced again. The various forces in the immortal world were shocked. That day, Li Daokong came to the 33rd heaven and opened the Dao field. Indeed, the first thing Li Daokong said when he saw Shi Dao was, there's still no clear winner between us. We'll continue in the future. Shi Dao was silent and did not answer. The south extreme heavenly venerate side. 2 sages have already appeared in the hidden sect. Disciple nephew Daokong, you have to shoulder the responsibility of protecting the heavenly Dao in the future. Li Daokong was no stranger to the south extreme heavenly venerate, sect master Tianju, Emperor Shao, and Qiu Shilai. Li Muyi's eldest disciple's talent had once made them extremely envious. Until today, they still felt that Li Daokong's potential was top-notch. Li Daokong said, of course. I'll usually imitate the sect master and cultivate in peace. You don't have to worry that I'll act recklessly. The sages nodded and heaved a sigh of relief. They were afraid that since Li Daokong had just attained the Dao, he would want to be bold towards the heavenly Dao. Fortunately, he was like Hanju, an ascetic. Although the hidden sect had infiltrated the various major factions, it did not control the heavenly Dao. This was also one of the reasons why the sages did not scheme against the hidden sect. Of course, the most important reason was that they couldn't win. There's only one seat left. The 9 sages will gather and the providence of the heavenly Dao will be perfected. Only then can we cultivate in peace, heavenly venerate Xiandu said. Shi Dao asked in surprise, aren't there already 9? There were exactly 9 of them. Sect Master Tianju shook his head. Fellow Taoist Han is not a heavenly Dao sage. Although he lives in the heavenly Dao, he's not restricted by the heavenly Dao's providence. They had also found this strange. How did Hanju do it? He attained the Dao in the heavenly Dao but was not restricted by it. Shi Dao was silent. He was now even more curious about the sect master of the hidden sect. Hanju had contacted him as the Dark Forbidden Lord, so he didn't know the hidden sect master. In addition, the Dark Forbidden Lord has recently targeted us. If you are cursed and can't hold on, you must seek our help. The current heavenly Dao can't withstand the replacement of a sage, heavenly venerate Xiandu reminded. Dark Forbidden Lord. Shi Dao's eyes flickered. He thought to himself, sorry, I might have to take the Dark Forbidden Lord's side. Although his primordial purple chi was not given to him by the Dark Forbidden Lord, the sage who had given him the primordial purple chi was probably not doing it out of good intentions. Compared to the hypocritical sage, he liked the Dark Forbidden Lord more. The sages chatted for a while more before going their own ways. 300 years later. I am the Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Court and the creator of the Heavenly Dao sect, Fang Liang. Today, I will attain the Dao and nurture the sage's Dao fruit. I will set up the order of the Heavenly Dao and distinguish between good and evil. I will lead all living beings to the right path. Fang Liang's voice suddenly resounded through the myriad worlds and shocked all living beings again. Another sage was born. Immortal World, Loose Heaven Sect. Inside a palace. A black-robed man suddenly opened his eyes in disbelief. How is that possible? Shouldn't it be me? He was Great Loose Heaven. In the end, Great Loose Heaven's first reaction was that they had fooled him. No! He had to seek justice. Great Loose Heaven immediately moved towards the 33rd heaven. At this moment, the sages were gathered in the Universal Hall. Other than Li Daokong and Shi Dao, the sages of the older generation had all arrived. What's going on? How did Fang Liang attain the Tao? The South Extreme Heavenly Venerate asked in a low voice. Things became strange. A primordial purple chi appeared in front of them. Sect Master Tianju, Emperor Shao, Chao Shilai, Heavenly Venerate Wufa, and Heavenly Venerate Xian Du were silent. The atmosphere became subtle. Emperor Shao said, even if someone is plotting, it's impossible for them to be honest. What we should find out now is why Fang Liang can attain the Tao. The sages frowned. They suddenly couldn't see through the heavenly Tao situation. Ever since the Dark Sage King appeared, they had felt very passive and had lost the absolute control of the past heavenly Tao sages. Heavenly Venerate Wufa asked, you mean that there are more than 9 primordial purple chi? That's the only way. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du sighed. He began to feel helpless. Heavenly Venerate Xian Du continued, did you sense that something was wrong with the deity realm of the ruins of End? We killed the Dark Sage King, but the deity realm of the ruins of End was not very happy. They even treated us coldly. The sages were moved. The South Extreme Heavenly Venerate's eyes widened. You too? Emperor Shao frowned. The other sages also had ugly expressions. They were good at plotting and could easily figure it out. Thinking about it carefully, it made sense. No matter how strong the Dark Sage King was, he wasn't stronger than the mighty figures in the deity realm of the ruins of End. If those mighty figures really had the intention, they could directly attack him. Why create a heavenly Tao calamity? At this moment, Great Loose Heaven's voice came from outside the hall. Sages, Great Loose Heaven requests an audience. His tone was very impolite, making one feel that he was restraining his anger. In the Taoist temple of the 100-Peak Immortal River, Hanju had a strange expression. He was also puzzled. How did Fang Liang succeed? The primordial purple chi he had given Li Daokong was obtained from Li Muyi's calculations. He had yet to use the great Tao purple chi he had obtained from the system. Could it be that there was more than one primordial purple chi? In the past, when the Tao ancestor was still around, the heavenly Tao had 9 heavenly Tao sages. What about the Tao ancestor? Tao ancestor definitely had one since he was also a sage. I want to know how many primordial purple chi there are? Hanju asked silently. 10 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. 49. So much. Hanju's eyes widened. He continued to ask, other than those I know, where are the remaining primordial purple chi? It involves an existence that surpasses the system's limits. It cannot be deduced. Tao ancestor. Hanju remained silent. Could it be that the Tao ancestor was like him, silently nurturing a transcendent force? It was very likely that when the Tao sect broke up in the past, the Tao ancestor could clearly stop them, but he didn't. His mentality was probably the same as his. Hanju was nurturing the fiend celestial force. There was also the hidden sect. Ji Xianshen and Fang Liang had broken up in the heavenly race, so he didn't take it to heart. They were on different levels and had different goals. Hanju suddenly felt that the Tao ancestor was plotting. No one knew why the Tao ancestor had disappeared. He was clearly still alive, but he had never appeared. He had let the mighty figures of the deity realm of the ruins of End scheme against the heavenly Tao. What was he plotting? Hanju felt the pressure. If the Tao ancestor wanted to kill him, the Tao field couldn't stop him. Hanju took a deep breath and adjusted his state of mind. The Tao ancestor had no reason to kill him. Hanju suspected that his variable identity was deliberately arranged by the Tao ancestor to restrain the other sages. Knowing that he was a variable, The sages first tried to rope him in and then targeted him. Hanju thought silently. The Dao ancestor didn't appear, perhaps because he was restricted by an unknown existence and might be having a hard time. Yeah. Hopefully. After Feng Liang became a sage, the Heavenly Dao Providence board became a joke. All living beings no longer trusted it. The mighty figures at the top of the list gave up fighting for Providence. The number one great loose heaven had been beaten to attain the Dao. It was truly ridiculous. Feng Liang's Heavenly Dao sect quickly expanded. His disciples quickly exceeded 10 million. They were all living beings with cultivation levels and formed a powerful force in the immortal world. In contrast, the heavenly race was silent because of Feng Liang's rise. The immortals were very afraid of offending him, so they didn't dare to support Ji Xianshun. No matter how strong Ji Xianshun was, he was only a pawn supported by a sage. Feng Liang was a sage. Time passed. As the heavenly race fell silent, many forces suppressed by them began to stir again. The situation in the immortal world changed. At the same time, in the depths of the distant dark forbidden zone, Han Tuo and Yi Tian were experiencing a life and death pursuit. The two of them moved quickly. They stopped under a huge meteor. Yi Tian took out 2 talismans and stuck them on Han Tuo and himself. The two of them held their breaths and stayed close to the meteor, not daring to breathe. A terrifying figure flew out from the darkness. Its body was shaped like a rotting fish. In its bloody mouth, every tooth was as big as a mountain. It had 4 pairs of bone wings, and as it flapped, it stirred up a murky wind. Not sensing Han Tuo and Yi Tian, it quickly left this area. Han Tuo heaved a sigh of relief. He turned to look at Yi Tian and cursed with a voice transmission. How did you provoke it? If not for Han Tuo arriving in time, Yi Tian might have died in the stomach of the dark beast. In order to find Yi Tian, Han Tuo had spent too much time. He had experienced many difficulties along the way and couldn't help but feel a little resentment. Yi Tian had an innocent expression as he sent a voice transmission. It stole my treasure. What treasure? A purple chi. I can feel that by absorbing that purple chi, I will be reborn. What purple chi? Could it be the legendary primordial purple chi used to attain the Tao? Han Tuo's tone was filled with mockery. He knew Yi Tian. This fellow was actually fighting with the dark beast just now. He clearly could not win, but he still insisted on pestering it. Stupid,